Hello everybody, Captain Klein here, and it's time for our 7th edition of Q&A with the Captain, where we take your questions, try to answer them, and provide you with useful information to help us through this COVID pandemic. So I'm going to start today with a quick discussion about HPCon Charlie and the steps that Virginia has taken to reopen their services, just to remind everybody where the military is at. So the Secretary of Defense and NAV North, our operational commander for health protection, has kept us in health protection condition Charlie. And I know I mentioned that in my email last week. I just want to reemphasize that with Memorial Day weekend coming up, the localities of Virginia Beach and the Hampton Roads area opening some businesses up even more in their phase 1 reopening. The military remains an HPCon Charlie, and that means that for us as military members, there are restrictions on what we can do. And I'm not going to detail those here for you, but some people have asked why that is and how that can be done. And I had someone liken it to when marijuana is legalized in the state, but it's not legal for the military. That's sort of an extreme example, but it applies. Just because the local community has made decisions to do things or the state has made decisions to do things, we are governed by a different set of rules. So I ask everybody to be mindful of what they do over the next couple of weeks as we continue to find our way through the COVID crisis that we're in and figure out what a new normal looks like for us. Particularly this Memorial Day weekend, please comply with those rules. If you're a civilian or a family member, we strongly encourage that as well, because it really gets to the health protection of our entire force. And we do have a different mission, a national security mission, that is very important that we maintain that health. So thank you very much for your attention to that and your continued focus on the health protection of the force. So for this week, the focus of this week's Q&A is going to be some recent NAV admins that have come up to address issues of concern to our family and our military members. So I'll go straight to question number 1, and this is one that's been on a lot of people's minds. What is the status of selection boards that were originally postponed back in March? So NAV admin came out recently, 144/20, and it discusses the precautionary measures that were put in place because of COVID-19. This NAV admin details the dates and the processes that are going to be used for selection, advancement, and continuation boards, and those will restart as of now on the 1st of July. There's a full schedule that accommodates getting all the boards done as quickly as possible, with some particular changes to protect the health of those doing the boards and make sure that no sailor is disadvantaged in this process. The one big change, obviously, is to the Chiefs Board. That will happen later this year than it ever has. I believe that it was in October. So we'll be getting information out to those who are board eligible, but rest assured we're tracking that very closely and we'll communicate with everybody who is particularly affected by it. Question number 2. I need to make an appointment to get my CAC card renewed. Is the Pass and ID office open? That's a great question. So to maximize force health protection and ensure the continuity of operations, all of our Navy real-time automated personnel identification system, or RAPIDS sites, are only accepting customers who have made a CAC appointment online. Priority support is provided to those with time-sensitive situation, which includes active duty service members whose CAC has been lost or stolen, or it's expiring within the next 60 days. ID card issued for newly retired members, and then dependents with cards that are expiring in the next 30 days. Now, from personal experience, I can tell you that they also do CAC pin resets, and that's on a walk-in basis, and they have all of the health protection measures in place there, from the physical distancing and the plexiglass shields up, so expect that when you go there. But it is a relatively quick service with the CAC pin resets if you require that. Additionally, there have been some changes that allow expired CACs to be accepted and for your credentials to be extended in the event that you can't get an appointment. The important thing to note about that is that those extensions and for the credentials and things have to be done before the current CAC expires, because you have to log in to do it. And once your credentials expire on the card, you can't log in anymore to the system that you need to get to. So NAV admin 97/20 has more information on that, so please take a look at that if this affects you. Question number 3. What will take place with the E4 exams? Well, I hope everybody knows by now, but just to reemphasize, as part of the Navy's initial COVID-19 mitigation response in March, we temporarily shut down administrating the exams. So we had already done E6 and E5, and then the E4 exam, I think the day before it was supposed to be administered, is when we kind of shut things down for active duty and full-time support for Cycle 247, and then selected reserve Cycle 106. So the plan was to resume that test in late May in person. about halfway through April, the decision was made that the progression of the disease was not quite to a point where we could bring people back together in such large numbers. And so instead, the Bureau personnel has decided to cancel Cycle 247's active duty exams for full-time support E4, for active duty and full-time support, I should say, for the E4 advancing exam. Instead, the advancements will be determined using a rank order, using your final multiple, with a modification to the current advancement formula. So obviously the exam score won't be included anymore, but there are other factors that will. So our admin shop and NC1 are working through the details on that, making sure all the worksheets are current and signed, and I think we're pretty close to finished on that. And so that's where we're moving in the future. Interestingly, the Chief of Personnel has mentioned in the past that the desire of the Navy is to get away from exams for advancement to E4 altogether. So this is kind of a fast-forward step to see how it works and how the process might need to be modified. That's not to say you shouldn't be studying for the exam in September. As far as I know, the plan for September exams is still on. But for this last exam that was supposed to be given in March, it has been canceled, and we're going to use this modified approach. NAVADMIN 121/20 is the guidance that we're following right now, and expecting a little bit more clarification over the next couple of weeks. Question number 4. How can my family and I feel safe with representatives moving our household goods during the COVID-19 pandemic? Well, effective May 1st, 2020, our transportation service providers, or TSPs, are supposed to provide a TSP certification of health protection protocols document to the member before beginning work in their home. So Transcom, which owns the household goods moving for the entire DoD, has been working very hard with all the commercial companies that provide that service, and they've come to these agreements on what conditions need to exist and what rules their movers need to comply with. So certification confirms that the TSP is adhering to all the CDC guidelines for COVID prevention. Your movers are equipped with and wearing their face coverings. They clean surfaces after they've touched them and after receiving your permission, and that they're using the smallest crew required to come in and pack and load your house. Also adhering to social distancing guidelines and maintaining good hand hygiene themselves. So this may result in a little bit longer time to serve your home to pack up your goods, but it's going to be done in a safe manner, and it is something that you can monitor and control. So the household goods office is another aspect of this, is supposed to provide direct oversight of every move. Now that doesn't mean a person comes to your home during the move, but you can request that, and there should be someone who makes contact with you during your move to confirm that the transportation service provider is complying with all those procedures. So if you have any questions about that, obviously the household goods office can help you out with that. You can also look at NAVADMIN 126/20, which provides all those guidelines. Question number 5. How can sailors who have approved separation or retirement dates and are willing to stay in the service start that process? So I'll tell you, the Navy's been very forward-leaning about trying to keep people in the military right now because of the uncertainty of COVID. And with the economic environment, those of you who have separation plans that may be a little bit in flux, or you're still looking for that job, there are options for you to stay in the Navy, and I encourage you to talk to your chain of command, talk to NC1, and really to understand that. But so the bottom line is the Navy is accepting applications from officers and enlisted personnel who want to delay that separation or retirement. Some of the details: if you have a approved separation or retirement before the 1st of April 2021, you can submit a request to your detailer to have it adjusted between 6 and 12 months, and you get to identify, you get to specify how long you want that extension to be effective for. All service members interested in extending are invited to apply, but priority for approval will be given to those who are filling sea duty and critical billets. So as always, our priority is making sure that our ships are ready to go to sea. And so there is a little bit of a caveat to who will be accepted into that extension program. In order to take advantage of this, at least currently, the requests have to be submitted by July 1st of 2020. So it gives you a little bit less than 6 weeks to put that request together. Command endorsed request to delay a separation or retirement date should be initiated through your appropriate detailer. NAVADMIN 89/20 has the details on that. Another NAVADMIN actually just came out yesterday, which would be Tuesday this week, is NAVADMIN 145/20 has updated guidance for higher tenure, PFA failures, and things like that that affect retention and advancement. So once again, a lot of guidance is coming out very quickly. NC1, the admin shop, are doing their best to keep up with everything and communicate everything. But if you have a separation or retirement coming up and you've got questions about what your options are, The first step really is to start talking to your chain of command, and then talk to NC1 and ABH1 Lewis and the AO about what our options are to keep you in the service. So that's all I have for this week. Thank everybody for tuning in. I ask everyone to please, continue to stay safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay healthy. Thanks very much. Captain out.